Give them a second to get ready for me. Hello, welcome back. If you're watching this, I appreciate you coming back to check it out. I hope you find something of value here. My name is Brian. This is the napkin theory. I explained the napkin theory in the first video, and just kind of go through it real quick again so we can stay on the same page. In the beginning, there was God and nothing else. And then God created the heavens and the earth using the only material available, the potter and the clay. Okay, and He made everything in the universe all the way down to you. I'm not dropping a piece this time. Okay, and so you have the same energy, are made of the same material as what I call the prime creator, the creative force behind the universe. So obviously you can't make this whole without this. That's the point of the napkin theory. So I wanted to talk for a minute today about the napkin, about a couple of different points on it. For one thing, the napkin is God as I perceive it, and I don't want to call God an it because it's so much more than that. And I don't believe that God has a gender. I think God is the embodiment of the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies, completely balanced in a perfect state of bliss. So it's not a man or a woman. The napkin has no genitals. Okay? But for the purposes of my talks and for the way I perceive things, I'm going to be referring to God as he or him, or the napkin, or prime creator. And those are the names that I give it. You don't have to use those names. I just don't want anybody to be offended by me calling God a he, because God is neither male nor female nor anything else. So that out of the way, because I really don't want anybody to be offended by what I'm talking about, because I really, really want you to hear it. Because for me, it's beautiful. And the deeper you get into it, the more amazing it becomes. So try to stick with me, even if I say something that maybe you don't agree with, which is fine. This is my truth. And that's all it is. It's my truth. I have no evidence to support this other than anecdotal. Just experiences from my life. And I have friends who have had similar experiences or are going through similar things and understanding things in a similar way. And the world just keeps getting better. So, all right, that being said, what is the napkin? What is prime creator? Where did prime creator come from? What's it for? What are we doing here? Why would the napkin have split up? Well, the napkin only knows itself. And for all I know, the napkin is part of a bigger napkin, or an even bigger napkin, or an even big, and I'm sorry, I can't go there. I can only concern myself with the napkin I'm a part of. You want to get into the roll of paper towels, that's up to you. But for me, it's just too big for my brain. And as a human mortal on planet Earth living in the third dimension, it's above my pay grade. But what is it and what is it for? Well, the napkin is pure love, pure light, pure consciousness. All of eternity is just one moment of bliss. Everything happens at once. And I actually was reading an article the other day about physics and string theory, and string theory postulates that there's 10 dimensions. And in the 10th dimension, which would be the highest that we can imagine, every possible thing that could ever have happened or been imagined has happened. And all that knowledge and all that information has gone back into that source of creation and light and love that we call the napkin, or prime creator. Or that I call, you don't have to call it that, I do. So the napkin is this loving light thing that knows only itself, knows no separation, doesn't know other, only knows itself. It's aware of itself, and that's why it's blissful, because there's nothing for it to worry about. It is, and it's everything. And by the way, you are as well. Because you're made of that same energy. Even though you can't see it, it's like there's a spotlight on you, and you have your back to it, and you're looking into the darkness and you're believing that's your reality. It's not. The reality is, if you just change your perspective, you would see the light. And if you can assimilate that energy that's pouring onto you and stop fearing the shadow, you can shine that light through you and disperse the shadow. And this is all very metaphysically, stuff, whatever. But even here in 3D, you can do this by changing your perspective on things, by recognizing your own divinity and recognizing the divinity in everybody else. Everybody else is part of the napkin too, and we're all experiencing other. We're all experiencing separation. We're doing this because it's the only way for Prime Creator to learn it, to experience it, to assimilate the energies of it, to dispel the shadows that are beyond whatever Prime Creator is. And it just keeps on expanding. And our purpose as little pieces of the napkin are to experience this whole thing from our own unique perspectives and bring that adventure back to the source and to share it with everybody else, so that something that you're going through, I never have to. And something that I'm going through, you never have to. But we get the same wisdom from it. We share it on a higher level. When you're going through your day-to-day life, and you recognize the divinity in other people, and you recognize your own divinity, and you recognize that you're divine, so you should really be in love with yourself, because you're pretty freaking amazing. We all are. We're all amazing. And when you recognize that within yourself, you begin to operate from a place of more happiness, more calmness, more acceptance. And by doing that, you become more and more powerful in the way that you manifest the things that you're dreaming about. Every thought creates a reality. That's why in the 10th dimension, everything that ever could have been imagined will be there. Because every time you have a thought, it creates a divergent reality, or a divergent set of circumstances that change and to go into different paths. Everything, it's like the butterfly effect. So the choices you make about what you're thinking about actually determine your reality. Remember, you are the napkin. You're in that same creative energy on a smaller scale than all it is. But you are in control of your experience. And it's how you face it. If you live in fear from day to day, you're afraid this person's going to hurt you, or this person's going to betray you, or you're not going to be able to make the money you need, or you're afraid to drive because you're going to get into a car accident, or you're suffering from manic depression and you have to take a pill every day, and you got to remember to take your pill. All this kind of stuff, all these things that we face throughout our day, if we see it as adversity and we rebel against it, it hurts us. It becomes a stressful event. But if you change your perception of it, everything that happens in 3D is really interesting. Everything that happens in 3D only happens in 3D. You can only experience it here. So even when it's adversity, it's an experience that you're taking with you back to all it is. So it's a valid experience. It's one that's worthwhile. And since our job really and truly is to shine light into darkness, then adversity, the shadow that you've carried with you that is now manifested in your day-to-day existence, if you change your perspective on it and you love it for the lesson that it brings, and you love it because it presents you with a challenge to overcome, and you created an overcoming. So it spurs you on. It makes you a stronger creator. It makes you, it enhances your character. It enhances your higher self to have these experiences. So when you're having them, like I said, you gotta love them. Oh my God, I don't have enough money to pay my rent today. I have to be creative and figure out a way to get that done. And then I get it done. The universe will provide you with whatever you ask it for. So if you're thinking, there's no way I'm gonna make that money, there's no way you're gonna make that money. If you're thinking, oh, this is easy, it's gonna be easy. But if you let doubt creep in, you're gonna get doubt. It's all about how you focus yourself. And think I might be getting away from my topic because I get into this stuff and I just start going. So I wrote some notes for myself for this, and let's see if, okay, so what's it for? Why is Prime Creator doing this? Like I said, it's trying to learn about itself in order to continue growing. And at the same time, as we continue to grow, picture an amoeba, a single-celled organism. When it reproduces, it just splits in half, right? So if we continue to grow in our awareness of ourselves, and as Prime Creator understands the meaning of other, at some point, perhaps, we split off and become Prime Creators of our own universes, and we create little pieces of the napkin of ourselves to go out and experience things and to explore things that we can imagine. But your imagination is Prime Creator's imagination for you. That's where it came from. So your will is God's will for you. The life that you crave, if it's something that you will love and be happy in, then it's what you're supposed to be doing. I know it's hard to find that sort of thing sometimes for people, so what you have to do is you have to be ready for it. You have to be allowing of it. You have to say, I'm welcoming my path. And whatever your path is, if your path is spirituality, then you're on it. Great. If it's not, or even if it is, but it's got to have something else part of it, you'll find it by being open to it. And you could end up being a banker, a doctor, an atheist, whatever. Whatever path you have for yourself is yours. Just like this is my truth. And I have no proof of it. All I know is that it feels right for me. And if it feels right for you, then I'm glad to share it with you. And, like I said in the first video, I'd love to hear your comments, and I'd love to get into a conversation with you. Because I'm not a preacher, man. I don't want to, I don't want to come across like I know everything and I'm trying to tell you what's what. No. I think everybody that I come across has so many amazing things about them. Even the ones I don't like, even the ones I don't like. And you don't have to like everybody. Some people's vibration, because you're energy, and we're all made of this energetic vibration. So sometimes there's frequencies that don't mesh with yours. That's okay too. They're not people that are bringing lessons to you. You have no soul contract with them. There's nothing for you to interact with there. But even those people, when I look at them, people I'll never know, they're amazing. They carry with them so much stuff, and they have so many stories to tell from every minute of every day that they've been on this planet, incarnated here, as the most adventurous possible souls there are. We are the cutting edge. We go to the extreme end. We are the commandos that dive into 3D and create realities and face adversity and forget who we are so that we can really embrace it. And that's what we've been doing as humans for, however long we've been here. And I won't get into that because that's a whole can of worms I'm not going to open. But I kind of forgot what I was saying for a second there. Oh yeah, the people that I meet. I'm sorry, I just had a little brain fart there. Everybody that I meet is amazing because we all have all these adventures and stories and stuff, and people have been doing this and embracing it and forgetting who they are for, a million generations. And now, and here's the thing, now, at this time in history, if you believe in time in history, it's time to wake up.